Lunch. It's only 3:45.
Oh, I know, yeah, it's good.
That's all I got, man. So,
I guess you all are ready. He said he's got about 5 minutes or so. No, we're just kidding you. Take your time.
I want to say that. All right, I have an opening statement. First and foremost, I understand that my obligation is to be the best possible football player that I can be. I know and believe that. The recent comments were made during the announcement of my new endorsement partnership. I was making the point that I want to be the best possible ambassador for them, just like I want to be the best possible ambassador for whatever team I am lucky enough to play for. I'm excited to compete this week, and you will see me doing everything possible to become the best player that I could possibly be. And first and foremost, I'm blessed to be in this whole situation, and I couldn't be in a better place right now than I am right now.
Cam, talking about the, what made you get Warren Moon as an advisor?
Just having Warren is a person that I first off look up to, and Warren has been special for me just to be a hands-on person to say his experiences during this time that he was going through. I call Warren, text him, and he's always available. No matter what the occasion is, he always is first, ears first, and then he tells me what he feels like his best advice would be.
Cam, why did you feel the need to have an opening statement about your comments that you made earlier this week, and what type of response have you been getting to them when you talked about being an entertainer and icon?
Well, for me, seeing how it did happen, I felt it was somewhat misunderstood, and it was partly my mistake of not making myself clear, and that was my fault.
What has the last few months been like for you with the Heisman and the national championship? What has it all been like?
For me, it's been extremely exciting. This whole path to where I am right now has been something of a whirlwind, to say the least. But at the same time, this is what this is what I signed up for. I'm blessed. I can't even say that enough. But just to know that I'm sitting in front of you guys, talking to you guys, and to know 365 days ago, right now I was attending class at Auburn. Even the Auburn fans didn't even know what they was getting this time last year. So it's a wonder what God can do in a person's life this fast.
Cam, can you take us through the decision-making process to throw at the Combine and to do everything that you decided to do this week?
Well, my biggest thing right now is to prepare for the NFL. I know it's going to be a challenging transition, but for me, I have been working out in San Diego with 3 unbelievable coaches: George Whitfield, my quarterback coach; Doug Hicks, my training and conditioning coach; and also Ron Sheffield, which is my speed coach. And during that time, I felt as if I wanted to do something at the Combine. I wanted to come out here and compete, because that's what I feel like I wanted to do, and have fun competing.
Cam, do you think people mistake your confidence for cockiness?
I'm not sure, but I'm a confident person, and it was instilled in me at a young age to believe in myself first and foremost, because if I don't believe in myself, who do I expect to believe in myself?
Cam, what's going to be the most difficult part of the transition for you? Playing under center or some other area of the game?
I'm not sure. I was hoping you was going to tell me that.
I'm going to let it.
But, for me, I'm just going to continuously to keep working on my craft, and that's to become the best quarterback possible during this transition. Obviously, everybody knows that Cam has been in a spread offense, and I have been trying to work as much as possible on trying to be fluent in coming from under center with the 3-step game, the 5-step, also the 7-step drop. And me and George has been working day and night in the film room, on the chalkboard, or on the field throwing routes.
Cam, how high do you think you should be drafted?
I'm not sure, sir, but like I said, that's not my sole focus.
Cam,
I'm trying to be the best player that I can be.
Cam, are you
why
going to
the
continue to
decision
have
to-
pro days, or are you going to let this combine kind of speak for itself?
Say it again, sir.
Are you going to continue to have pro days after this, or are you just going to let combine and what you do here take you into the NFL draft?
No, sir. I'm a competitor. That's what I do. And for anybody to know me, they know that I like to compete. That's why I'm going to participate in all the activities tomorrow. Also, our pro day for Auburn is March 8th. I will be participating in that also.
And why the decision to work out in San Diego instead of like some other big facility?
Well, for me, I felt like it was best for me to be isolated. I know myself, and I know how I need to be focused.
Tennessee's the nearest one at table 5.
I know how focused I needed to be, especially during this time, making the biggest interview of my whole life. I needed to be more focused than ever, and I felt going to San Diego, where I really didn't know nothing about it, but it's excellent weather. Waking up to that beautiful sun was something in itself. But I was motivated to want to be great, and that's what I am trying to do.
Kim, after making a comment about being an icon and entertainer, do you think that you have to prove the team in the interview room this week that football will remain your #1 priority?
Well, football is my #1 priority. I want to make that perfectly clear. I'm just going to go into wherever organization that I'm picked up, I'm going to be lucky. I'm going to be happy because this is a dream that I've always envisioned myself doing. Like I said, I will be lucky, but at the same time, this is something that I am looking forward to.
Can you describe what the atmosphere has been like? Last night you had some interviews, obviously, with some teams, maybe just the atmosphere in the rooms and what they were doing, putting you on the board, things of that nature.
Well, it was something that, you had to question yourself as an overall athlete. I'm pretty sure everybody in the combine was going through that process, asking themselves a question like, is this really what I want to do? Because right after each meeting, the horn blows to give you somewhat of a notice that, you have 2 minutes left. And the coaches are asking you questions left and right, left and right, left and right. And as soon as that meeting is done, you shake your hands and you get right out and you go to the next place. And right as soon as you walk into that next place, you do the same thing over. But one thing I can say for each and every team, they keep you on your toes. It's been somewhat fun for me to be eager to know or to try to expect what a next team is going to say or what they're going to have me to do. And it's been a fun experience so far.
Jerry Jones has talked openly about being interested in you. I know you want to go #1. Can you talk about the Cowboys? Can you talk about your interest in the Cowboys?
I did have a meeting with the Cowboys last night for 15 minutes. It was one of those teams that I did speak with. As far as any teams right now, I'm not going to get particular of which teams that I'm interested in, because right now I'm interested in every single team that's in the NFL who's willing to take me as a player.
In addition, I had a question for you. How much did you learn from the NCAA scrutiny, and how would you describe what that was like to go through that experience, you and your father? How are things now?
Well, during this whole process with the whole NCAA, it's been somewhat of me facing adversity. And I think I owe a lot of my due diligence to my supporting cast, my teammates, my coaching staff, my close friends, my family members, and just people that have been available for me to talk to in the wee nights of the hour, and just being available. The relationship with my father is one that was already good before this whole adversity thing came up with the NCAA, and with this whole NCAA thing swarming around my family and everybody that was a part of me or affiliated with me, it had just brought me and my father closer together.
Just to follow up on that, with the NFL, do people ask you a lot of questions if they worry that your father, that he will be a positive influence or be too much of an influence maybe on you in the NFL?
Yes, sir, the question has been asked, but my answer is, my father is just like any other father that wants the best for his son. He wants to see his son succeed in every way possible.
How would you describe your personality? You've had a lot of scrutiny, and you seem like a pretty outgoing, personable guy.
Well, for me, my biggest thing is, at this combine is to compete, to, go against the best athletes in America, collegiate athletes in America. I'm walking down the hall and I see Mr. Gabbert, and I'm walking down the hall and I see Mr. A.J. Green, Julio Jones, all those guys, and I'm just scratching my head. I see Daquan Bowers. Those guys are some excellent athletes. And I'm just blessed to be in the same setting as those guys because, you know, I watch those guys' highlight tapes. I'm amazed, and you know, I'm just humbled to the fact that, you know, everybody, you know, one guy had mentioned it in a meeting, and he said, you know, the NFL doesn't owe anybody nothing. With Cam Newton or without, the NFL will be, you know, and I'm just honored to have this opportunity to be going into the NFL.
People have questions about, you know, your character, your past, you know, days of Florida. What do you say to them about that?
Say it again.
What do you say to anybody who has questions about your character or things in your past?
You know, my biggest thing is everybody has a learning process that they go through, and for me, that learning process happened 3 years ago. You know, the mistakes that I made at Florida, you know, the trials and tribulations that I went through at Blinn College, has made me the person that I am today. I can say it with my chin high to the sky and say that, you know, if I could do it all over again, I couldn't say that I wouldn't do the same things, because those same mistakes that I made at Florida, now if that opportunity presents itself, I wouldn't do that, because I know what happens if you do the things that I did at Florida.
What have you learned about just the personality and the expectation of being a quarterback as the face of the franchise? And, you know, just like the scrutiny of this week, where one thing you say has the potential to be a firestorm. How do you put that in perspective, and what have you learned about how to do it?
Well, first off, the biggest thing for me going into this whole transition to the NFL is preparation. You know, I admire the guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, who is a professional at what they do. You know, no offense to any of those guys, but, you know, they might not run the fastest 40. You know, they may not jump the highest in this year's combine. They might not jump the farthest in the broad jump. But I guarantee you, from what I've heard from their teams, you know, you're not going to outwork them. You know, they're in the film study, or they'll watch a film right before the offensive coordinators watch a film. You know, so I respect that, and somebody that treats their job, you know, like they go about each and every day and handling it.
Yeah, when you mentioned the mistakes at Florida, I'm not sure specifically what you're talking about, but I've heard two things: that you did steal the laptop and that you stole things out of teammates' locker. Is either of those stories true?
Sir, you know, I'm letting you know right now, what I did in the past is in the past. My sole focus is to perform at this year's combine. I'm not going to entertain anything that happened in my past. I'm all about the future. And I'm trying to prepare today to make my future as best as I can be.
Can you see yourself in a competition from the other quarterbacks in this draft class? How do you sell yourself in the interview room?
Last question.
You know, I really don't know. I think what sets a lot of people apart from you know, each other is
Jones at Podium A.
A lot of things that separate a lot of people is first off being accepted to the combine. You know, I'm one of the lucky few guys that had this opportunity. You know, I'm looking at Ryan Mallett, and he's a big guy. And you know, I played against him this year, and he made some unbelievable throws. I'm just going to continuously work on my craft throughout the day to make me a better person. You know, I'm not really focused on, you know, comparing myself to this person, comparing myself to that person, but I'm just going to continue to focus on Cam Newton, try to make him the best person that he can be.
Did you meet with Buffalo last night?